Hi, welcome to Driving TV, and I hope you are well, and welcome to another Friday. And in this episode we're going to talk about some of the common mistakes learners make on their learning to drive in the beginning. Let's start the lesson. Okay, so like I said, we're going to talk about some of the common mistakes learners make on their learning in the beginning. So we're going to try to cover some of those mistakes they make on their learning. Number one, not looking at the mirror or not checking the mirror frequently or on time. If you're learning with a driving instructor, you'd notice that your instructor keeps reminding you to check the mirror or look at the mirror. Why? Because the problems are not just coming from the front, it's also coming from behind and around you. Mirrors gives you the information where things are. Unless you look at the mirror, you don't really know what's happening behind. You don't really know what's happening around you. Just to give you an example, just say you are driving and you want to increase the speed. You didn't check the mirror, you just increase, and there's a car behind just about to overtake. What do you think could happen? The car behind is overtaking, you are increasing. The reason you don't know the car behind is overtaking is because you didn't check the mirror. And can you see the problem? So like I said, the problems are not just coming from the front, it's also coming around you, from behind you. And this is why any change of speed, whether you increase or decrease, always check the mirror. Before decreasing, meaning before reducing, you check the mirror to see who's behind. Before increasing, like I said, the reason you're checking just because if somebody is about to overtake. If you check the mirror, you would know the car behind is overtaking, which means if you want to increase, you would wait until the car overtakes and then you're going to increase. If you don't check the mirror, you're not going to know that. So check the mirror before any change of speed, up or down, always check the mirror. And obviously if you're driving on a long stretch of road and you're not going left or right, you're just driving, check the mirror every 5 to 8 seconds so you know what's happening around. Okay? Number two, many learners in the beginning, they worry about the car behind too much in the beginning. So for example, they stop on the traffic light. Now they're learning in a manual car, which means clutch is a challenge for them in the beginning. But because they're worrying about the car behind too much, thinking that I'm not going to be able to move off on time, what are they going to think, what are they going to do, are they going to get angry? All those things comes in the mind of learners and they worry about them. And what do? They stall the car. Remember, you have to think of others obviously on the road, but you as a driver have to think of yourself first. If you can't move the car, no point worrying about the car behind, because if you stall, what's going to happen? You're going to make it even more longer, right? So think of you, think of your clutch, think of your gas, think of your clutch control if you're learning in a manual car. That way you will move off quicker and you will be helping the car behind. If you worry too much about them, then you're going to stall, you're going to make it even more longer. And also the car behind knows you're learning. Okay, they've learned one day. You're learning today, you're allowed to learn, you have the L plates on, you have the instructor next to you. So you don't have to worry if they get angry, if they think you are too slow. What can you do? That's the only way you're going to learn, and that's how you're going to learn. Obviously, if you're too slow and if you can't deal with traffic lights, your instructor is not going to take you there anyway. The reason your instructor took you on the traffic light is because he or she believes in you that you can't drive. Unless you do that, you're not going to learn. So don't worry about the car behind too much. Think of you, think of how you're going to move off. That way, not only you are helping yourself, you are also helping the car behind. Okay? Number three is don't have enough time on their dealing with junctions. So say they want to go left or they want to go right and their speed is too high. They don't have enough time to steer. They're rushing. Why do you think you have less time? Why do you have to rush? Why do you have to steer quite quickly on junctions? And then when you go into the junction, your speed is too high, you went in really fast, there could be a car coming and there is a problem, and that could be a problem. So why do you think you have less time? Why is it that you don't have enough time in junction? Why is that? What can you do to have more time for you to do things on junctions? So for example, say you want to go left. Okay, you looked at the mirror, you put the signal on, and then for you to go, you are going too fast. It seems you don't have enough time. You don't have time to steer. You don't have time to change gear. Why is that? What can you do? What do you think you should do to have more time when you're dealing with junctions? What can you do? The reason you don't have enough time is because your speed is too high. If you slow the car, you're going to have more time, right? That's the only thing you need to do, and that's the only thing learners don't do in the beginning. So say you want to go left, you look at the mirror, put the signal on. When you do that, cover the brake. And then for you to do the signal and position and the rest, just brake little, brake as much as you need so that you get more time to deal with the junction. Obviously, you're not going to slow too much that you stop the car. All I'm saying is the reason you don't have enough time is because your speed is too high. And the only way you're going to have more time is if you slow the car, if you reduce your speed. That's the only way you're going to have more time to deal with the junctions. So for you to have more time when you're dealing with the junctions or anything, make sure you reduce your speed. That's the only way you're going to have more time to deal with the junctions. Okay? Clutch down too early. Many learners, soon as they see a problem and they need to slow the car, they need to brake, the first thing they do is they put the clutch down. For you to slow the car, what do you do? What do you need to do? How do you slow the car? Do you slow the car with the clutch or do you slow the car with the brake? Why is it you put the clutch down to slow the car? Why is that? Because the job of the clutch is not for you to slow the car, right? What is the job of the clutch? The job of the clutch is to move the car, is to change gear, and to keep the engine running at the end. So in the job description I just said, job of the clutch, what does it say? The clutch, you need to put the clutch down to slow the car. Remember, the job of the clutch is what? Move the car in the beginning. So when you move the car in the beginning, you need to bring the clutch to the biting to move the car, right? And then you put the clutch down to change gear. Okay? And then at the end, just before the car stops fully, you put the clutch down. Why? So you don't stall the car. You keep the engine running. But in that 3 job, what does it say? You have to put the clutch down to slow the car. What does it say that? That's not the job, is it? The job of the clutch isn't for you to slow the car or to stop the car. That's the job of the brake. Brake slows the car, brake stops the car. The clutch, you put it at the end, just before the car stops fully to keep the engine running. So before you slow the car, so if you want to slow the car or to stop the car, don't put the clutch down. You could cover the clutch, but don't touch it. You brake, and just before the car stops, put the clutch down, okay? Because if you put the clutch down too early, which is you are coasting. And coasting is dangerous because as soon as you put the clutch down, you free the wheel. You have no control of the wheel. For you to stop the car, you have to brake harder to stop and you might skid. The risk is you might skid. You don't have any engine braking. If the car stays on gear when you're braking, you are braking and the engine is also giving braking because the gear is on. If you take it out of the gear, meaning if you put the clutch down, you disconnect the gear, which means you don't have any engine braking. And that could be dangerous because if you need to brake hard, you might skid and go and kill or hit the person or thing that you're trying to save. Okay? So for example, you want to stop, maybe somebody is crossing the road or the traffic light is getting red and all of a sudden you stop. And for you to stop, what you did, you put the clutch down first and then you brake hard. Now because you put the clutch down first, you free the wheel, you have to brake harder now to stop, which means you could skid. If you brake first and the gear is already on, you didn't put the clutch down, which means you are getting the engine braking as well as the brake, and then put the clutch down at the end, okay? So don't put the clutch down as soon as you need to slow or stop. Brake first to slow the car or to stop the car. Put the clutch down at the end, not in the beginning, because that's not the job of the clutch. Next and the last one for today is not reading the road well ahead. Many learners, they drive like a tunnel vision. They just drive like as if they're looking at a tunnel and they don't look left, right. They don't look all around in a bigger picture ahead. Remember, the problems are not coming from the sky. They are all around you, in front of you, behind you. Unless you look around and unless you read what's happening. So for example, you're driving on the roadway, plenty of parked cars. Now what could happen? Because you're not thinking, you're not reading, you are missing all the problems. What could happen? So you're driving on the road, plenty of parked cars, door could open, car could move out, car could move in, somebody could cross the road front of a car, people walking with children, people walking with dogs. All these are potential danger, all these are potential problems. It could happen. They could just come in front of you, they could just open the door, and the reason you didn't notice is because you didn't read the road. You didn't realize, you didn't see the car was there, and you didn't think the door could open. You're just driving, looking ahead, not thinking of others, not thinking of other things on the road. So when you're driving, try to read the road and always be ready for unexpected, so that if something happens, it's not going to happen all of a sudden. Remember, the problem, like I said, not coming from the sky. It is there front of you, around you. The reason you didn't see is because you didn't read. So when you're driving, read the road as you're driving. That way, if something happens, you're not going to be surprised. You're not going to be shocked. You will know, because you've seen it already. It was happening. It's because you've been reading the road. Okay? So these are the problems, these are the mistakes of learners I'm going to share in this video. In the future, I'll share more. But for this, these are the ones I'm sharing in this video. If you need extra help on learning to drive and to pass the driving test, don't forget to take the advantage of our online course, which gives everything a learner needs. It has everything a learner needs to learn to drive and to pass the driving test. The course has more than 30 videos on the course, giving you everything you need. I will leave a link on the description for you to have a look. Have a look and see and read. And if you like it, you could always join the course. Thank you for watching. I hope this video helps. If it does, please do give a thumbs up. Please do make a comment what you think of the video, and if you are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe so don't miss any of my future videos. Hope to see you again on the next video. Bye for now.